Hello. Oh, I think I was just muted, guys. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Um, yeah. So I was just worried that you guys couldn't hear me, but Mike was muted. What's up, guys? I'm Antonio. Uh, I'm not Liar to Roy. Roy is busy, and Liar at this time usually cannot get on the stream, so I will be hosting the stream. We are doing an open line stream. I put the link in the chat. We're here to talk about everything AC Milan. Um, some important topics, some teams like player selection, international break, um, and yeah, just anything else that the chat talks about. Um, how long are you guys planning this stream to be? I would say around 2 hours. Not too long. 2 hours. Cut it off there, so it doesn't get too late where I'm at. But yeah, um, the link is in the chat, and we have our first guest. Everyone welcome Yusuf. What's up, Yusuf?
What up, Antonio?
How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
So, do you have any topics you want to start out by talking with? Either recent games, international break, players, Champions League. Like, what's on your mind?
Saelemaekers.
Okay,
Yeah.
Saelemaekers. All
He
right.
started for Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that game. So tell me, how did he
Yeah, I
play?
didn't watch that game either. I just saw him on the starting lineup.
Really.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the
It's
statistics.
pretty interesting that Saelemaekers, started in his first Belgium game with the national team.
Right. I did see that Belgium played Estonia, I think 5-2. So they won 5-2. Pretty dominant performance.
I mean, a lot of people here don't like Saelemaekers, but him being in the Belgium team and starting says something.
Exactly. Look, I don't mind Saelemaekers. I've never mind. I thought I am one of the people that wants an alternative right winger, but at the same time, if
he's starting in that Belgian team, like it shows that he has quality.
Right. So I'm gonna pull up the exact formation. I think Saelemaekers, of course, is more defensive. He started off his career in Belgium as a right back, but then he was transitioned into that right mid wing role. But he contributes to the defense, of course, all the time. He cuts inside, doesn't really play on the wing. And yeah, if he's fluid in the attack, he doesn't have to score a ton of goals.
I mean, he's just 21, man. He's 21. Like he could improve
Yeah.
that. He could improve his offensive game.
Right. If he remains fluid, like he played against Cagliari, everyone played well in the attack, and they were pretty efficient in the final third. If he can, continue to be efficient, then I don't have a problem with playing him a little bit more defensive right winger.
I mean, being 21 and starting in that Belgium team, it says a lot, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up.
That's just how I see him. That's how I perceive this situation.
I'm going to pull up this. Look at the team. This is an interesting game. He didn't score, obviously, but Belgium had 74% possession, pretty dominant. So it looks like they lined up a 3-4-3-ish, with Saelemaekers playing as a right wing back. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Milan doesn't play him he does play as a right wing back, but if we're going by the 4-2-3-1, he's not really in that exact position. But then again,
we could
formations change. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, formations change in the game. Yeah. Ironically, Milan signed Florenzi to be the backup right back to Calabria, yet he is the starter for Italy, and Calabria doesn't even get into the team. And I would argue that that's the coach's fault, because I think Calabria is the best Italian right back right now.
I think Mancini just prefers some experience.
Yeah. I mean, he knows Florenzi. I think Calabria...
It's just a coach preference, I think.
Right. Calabria had a great season, but he was injured, so he missed the Euros, or he had to do surgery. And I don't know if I like Mancini because he gives young players a chance, but at the same time, I want him to change Immobile and Florenzi and different players, give younger players at Calabria a shot. But
Yeah,
he
I would
knows him
give
more.
Bastoni a shot.
Right. Saelemaekers was at fault for the first goal. Like I said, I did not see this game. I was watching the Italy game. I support Italy, so I was really watching that when the games were all live. But I saw the score, and yeah, if you could explain, if you
So
want to explain
I
that.
don't watch national games apart from the World Cup and the Euros. So
Okay. Saelemaekers would feast in this formation under Conte. Okay, that's a good point. Um, Conte had Hakimi as his wing back before with Inter. So I don't know. Hakimi is better at attacking, I would say, than Saelemaekers. His offensive contributions are very high, but they do play similarly. Hakimi is also faster. I'm not saying Saelemaekers isn't fast, but it's weird to make this comparison because I never really thought about it before. So it's interesting. Um, yeah, man. If you want to talk about, I guess we can just talk about different international games. Maybe get into Kalulu a bit because I was very impressed with him. Or Italy. Raspadori deserves a chance for being Italy's number 9. 100% agree with
do you
that.
think Mancini will give his youngsters a chance?
I mean, he's been known to do that, but the thing is, if he's not going to give them a chance against Bulgaria, when is he going to give them a chance? He substituted Raspadori in late in the second half. Um, I know I wanted him to play more because the attack needed a little bit extra, and Calabria didn't play. So I hope he will in the future. I trust him. He's a great coach, obviously. So I think he will. Just I wonder like if it'll be maybe next game or against Lithuania, against a team that they can beat pretty easily. Yeah, I'll pull up the Italy game so we can talk about that. A lot of games today and yesterday. So for those who don't know, Italy versus Bulgaria, 1-1 draw. Um, and it's funny because the goal that Italy conceded. By the way, first of all, Federico Chiesa scored a great goal. He cut inside from the right wing. He showed that his use of 2 feet makes him an elite player. Chiesa cut in. He can shoot so well with both feet, and he shot with his left foot from just on the box, I believe, maybe a little bit outside, and put it into the far corner post on the ground. Maybe the keeper could have gotten it, but it was a great goal. But Italy did concede a goal, and it was Florenzi's fault because the left wing of Bulgaria cut down, got past him. He kind of stumbled on that play, and then passed the ball in, and there was just a striker on the near post. And Donnarumma, people are saying that he could have saved it because it wasn't the best finish from that being that close, but it's kind of hard to react, so I don't blame Donnarumma too much, but he still maybe could have done better, maybe come out of his goal. So 1-1. Then if you look at the possession stats, 79% possession Italy. The rest of the game, just total dominance. 27 shots, and Bulgaria basically parked the bus after that. So Italy are top of the group.
Florenzi has been injured for how long?
I don't think he was injured too recently, but he did get injured a bit last. He got injured during the Euros actually, but not like a serious injury, I don't think.
Do you think he's match ready, match fit?
Um,
I think that could still be an issue.
Look, I will say this, like I think he should be match fit. I think at the same time he had moments where he showed that he's really good first touch and he played well at times, but his fitness maybe in that situation he couldn't keep up with the Bulgarian player and he looked a bit sloppy with his crosses. So I know he can definitely play better.
So he
maybe.
he wasn't sharp in the game, right?
Right. He had moments where he was pretty off, I will say. And that goal was mainly his fault.
I hope his performance isn't like that with us.
Yeah, we can only hope.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if Florenzi is still playing like that, we could put in Kalulu.
Right, and listen, that is going to be a big part of this stream. I want to talk about our squad depth because we have a lot of players, and I'm already seeing news dealing with injuries and rotation that are a bit concerning to me. So I will, and it's about Pioli's decision. So that is going to be a big topic of this stream. But for now, let's just finish with some international games. Okay, so I think Moiskin and Zaniolo should break into the lineup at some point. It's clear that Immobile can't score with an Italy badge on. Yeah, exactly. I agree 100%. Give Moiskin a chance, but he has to be a good team player, and he has to maybe whatever the issues he had with Mancini that made him not get called up to the Euros. Those have to be resolved, and he did get called up this time. So
can Keane play on the wings? I wonder if Keane can play on the wings.
I think I saw him sometimes playing as a winger at PSG. Like he would shift over. He's pretty fast, so he can.
Maybe I would put him instead of Insigne and have
that's bold.
Keane on the left, Chiesa on the right. And
you don't like Insigne?
I do, but soon he's gonna get old, and I see his performance kind of dropping off.
What about a Chiesa left and Berardi right wing?
That could work too, but Berardi is also old. Like
he's like 26, 27, I think. He's not super old.
I mean, because you got Raspadori and you've got Keane.
You mean you mean the long future?
Yeah, and you've got Cotroni on that striker positions. You can't field all three, so you gotta compromise.
Right.
So if Keane can play on
and there's also Scamacca.
Exactly. So you've got now 4 strikers. So what do? You gotta compromise, right?
Yeah, but basically, after I'll just read this comment. By the way, just to add to that, Zaniolo's amazing, and I think, him. I think he's definitely fully fit. He didn't play with Roma because he got a red card in the first game. But yeah, he's amazing. I don't know why he wasn't subbed in for whatever reason, but anyways, Florence got cooked by the Bulgarian guy. But Donnarumma should have done better, in my opinion. I think Mike would have saved it. Chiesa is absolutely world class. Hopefully, Juve don't qualify for CL and we can get him, of course. But he's going to cost 100 million. Bids came in of that much for Chiesa. So, Florenzi got cooked 100%. I have to admit, I'm not saying he's bad. Just on that situation, he got pretty much burned on that play. Kind of stumbled. Then, I do agree Donnarumma should have done better. I think maybe if he came out and it went right in front of the striker instead of letting him give him space to put it past him. I just think the defensive, it was a bit the center back's fault for not stepping in, but also the keeper kind of gave the striker space. I think Mike would have been more active. Donnarumma, I don't want to make too much of this, but he didn't look 100 as good as he usually is.
The thing is, he's been benched.
Exactly. That's what I was getting to. He looks a little shaky. I mean, I didn't notice him too much because the stats show Italy 79% possession here. So it's not like he was tested that much, but we conceded a goal. And
I mean, a goalkeeper relies on instincts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're not in the game and you're not putting those instincts at work and you're just sitting on the bench, so it's gonna affect him when he plays.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. He's been benched, and you need to be fresh. I think he realized that he made a mistake by now, that going there was a mistake, but it's too late for him. I don't know if how many games he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to play in the Champions League. I don't know what they're going to do for the minutes, but yeah, he looked a little less confident. He didn't play too bad, but just not as good as he normally is, I would say. That's just me. That's just from what I saw. And I guess, we covered that. Italy, 10 points, 3 wins and a draw. Pretty comfortable. Switzerland are 6 points. They're playing them next. And this week, so they should be able. And also, they tied Spain and Brazil's 35-game unbeaten streak. So if they tie or win against Switzerland, they beat those and set a world record. So that's really cool. But yeah, I guess we can move on to maybe another topic. I guess if there's any other international games that you think are maybe cool to see. I know England won 4-0. No one really cares too much about England. Maybe with some Milan players before we move into maybe the Kalulu performance. Is there anything else you saw today, or?
I don't watch national friendly games or World Cup qualifiers.
I know a lot of players played. I know Benacer played. I don't. It's hard for me, like from where I'm at. It's hard to keep up with the African games because
there are so many games. How would you keep up with all of them, man?
Right. It's hard for me to follow every single game. But yeah, I think I'm gonna put back the AC. You know what? I will put a bit about. I'll put a nice picture of Pierre because I want to talk about him for a bit, and then maybe we can transition into talking about my concerns for some of our squad depth and how I think Pioli is going to be really important. And you know what? I'll just go back to the AC Milan website because just so we can talk about whatever. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about Pierre because I feel like he's overlooked so much. So
I mean, if Florenzi is playing bad, why not put Kalulu instead of him and give Kalulu a chance?
Yeah. So
it wouldn't hurt to play Kalulu instead of Florenzi for a couple of games.
Yeah. So obviously Kalulu played today in the U21s, France versus Macedonia. So it's not against it's a youth and it's not against like a country that's very, very good. But he scored a very nice goal. It was France won 3-0 and it was a counterattack and Kalulu just got a nice pass and took it all the way and then chipped the keeper from a decent distance. And yeah, he scored and just reminded me of Kalulu and how much he's improved. A lot of people did see it. A lot of people were excited, and I think he's like from what I first saw from him, he was decent, especially like defensively and athletically, he was good. But he's just been improving slowly, and the thing is, he hasn't even played too many games. But when he does play, I do notice the improvements. I don't know if you notice those as well.
I just think he's a great prospect, and we should give him more minutes.
Right. So, but do you think he's improved, like when you watch him play?
I haven't seen him since he last played with us, which was when.
Right, but so that's the thing. But how about? Do you remember when we first got him, and he came in against Parma, I believe, or I don't know if that was his first game, but I remember he got subbed in after Gabia got injured, and we were already down because I think Kjaer was injured, so it was Kalulu stepped in, and we tied that game 2-2, and he looked okay. He did kind of let Gervinho get past him on one play, but I did see him then. He was a pretty decent player, but then as I kept watching him throughout the season, I saw him, contributing to the attack. I saw him playing, increasing the confidence. He can play at right back and center back. So I was excited. He scored against Genoa. And he basically, and I remember against, I think Genoa the second time we played them, he gave Rebic a great ball, cut back inside, and Rebic skied it over the crossbar when he was wide open. And this is all in minimal minutes that he plays. So I'm excited, man. I think he is improving, and he scored a nice goal today. So
why not play him? If Florenzi is playing bad, why not put him in instead of Florenzi?
We'll get back to that because I kind of agree with you on that. But Krunic injury, not that serious. Oh, Krunic got injured. Okay, I felt bad for him because as soon as he started to find rhythm, he got injured. Should be back for Lazio. Yeah, that's a good point. I was watching the France versus Bosnia game, and by the way, first of all, Dzeko is a great player. I mean, he missed some chances, but his control and his goal were very, very amazing for Bosnia. 1-1 game, but And second of all, yeah, I did notice that Krunic wasn't playing. I was surprised. I guess that's the reason why. So thank you for informing me on that. Kalulu, our new right wing, I don't think he's attack-minded enough.
Yeah, I
But
think he's more defensive than attacking.
yeah, but I think he can contribute from like the right wing back position, right back. He can do a bit of offensive work, but not a right wing. I'm extremely. Oh no, here we go, guys. The Kessie comment. I'm extremely worried about Kessie. What worries me the most is that Kessie leaving would signify what a player at Milan is worth getting attached to anymore. They will all eventually leave. Listen, I've been thinking about this. I don't want to spend too long about this and he's, I know it's off topic. Listen, I'm worried as well, but at the end of the day, he wants 8 million, 7 million plus bonuses, whatever. And Premier League teams are willing to pay that, but Milan either cannot or will not go over the wage limit. So some compromise has to be made here. And if we can meet him halfway, like in the 6 million range, that's what I hope can happen. Other than that, look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. There's a very fair chance that he's going to leave. Like before, we know this is actually a possibility, but we don't know what's going to happen from now until the summer window, or maybe I don't know. I don't see him leaving in January, but maybe if they would try to get a very small profit off of him, a very cheap transfer fee in January. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there's plenty of time to settle it. I hope the Milan management can either try to persuade Elliot to increase the wages and break their little rule. But anything can happen in that. So I don't know. I don't have much to say right now because I do see news here and there that say, oh, looks like Kessie's not going to renew. But then the next day they're like, Kessie's optimistic about renewing. So the news changes a lot. So yeah, any words about that, Yusuf? Kessie?
With Kessie's situation, it's very difficult to tell what's going to happen. Like you just never know. You never know. He might end up at Inter. Like you just never know what might happen.
Exactly, and this just reminds me of how Fabrizio Romano, like I saw him in a lot of interviews saying, like no one knew what Donnarumma and Hakan would do. But he was trying to be optimistic to Milan fans, and he would say, like, I think personally they're going to end up renewing because this has happened before. But the thing is this, like, the managers of these players are stubborn now. They're not going to fall. They're not going to buckle because they know that there's other teams that are putting money down when these players end up leaving on a free, and that they can just pay the agents and the player high wages. So this is the thing. They're not scared anymore. Milan isn't scared apparently because they don't mind losing players, but the Milan fans are scared for sure.
The thing is with me, Kessie said that, he wants to stay here and he'll be the president forever. And I know it's just, some gimmicky shit from him. He's just saying that, to calm the fans down and shit. But for me as a fan, I don't like to hear that, and there's no action behind what he's saying.
Yeah.
So as a fan, I really I don't get I get offended, or it's a sign of disrespect. It's either you sign the contract or you fuck off. For me, in my opinion, if you really love the club, you put action behind your words. You sign the fucking contract. You don't say you're gonna sign the contract and then just leave.
Yeah, a part of me really wanted to believe him when he said that. I was pretty confident. I was like, he's not going to lie. But then nothing happened, and either it's because the management didn't really want to solve it, or
I'm in love with the club. I'm not in love with the players that play for the club. So if he doesn't want to stay in the club, he can fuck off. There are tons of players that could do what he's doing now. That's how I see it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, Tonali reduced his wages, and he showed some sacrifice to stay in the club.
The thing is, I'm a little bit less worried because we have looks like Tonali can start stepping up.
Give me a minute, yeah?
Got you. I'm a little bit less worried because I think Tonali's can step up, but like losing him on a free is just horrible. I'm not personally, I don't think benching him is the best thing because if we're gonna keep him, I know it's like the moral thing for the fans. Say okay, screw off, you're not gonna sign. But I want to be competitive, so I'd still play him for the rest of the year. Donnarumma at the end of the day, and Hakan for whatever they did, they helped us qualify for the Champions League last year. So whatever you can say, we're in the Champions League now, and it's partly because of them, and we played them last year, so I would keep playing our best players. Okay, Kalulu, great signing. We only signed him for 500k. Yes, hoping Chaka Traore has the same development because these signings seem to be like great gems for absolute peanuts. Yeah, that's what the best managements do around these like teams in Europe and France and Germany. They get great deals. They develop these players, and yeah, make good profit if we ever sign.
Antonio, you didn't tell me your thoughts about Kessie.
I did. I just said them, but I think personally I would still play him because, like I said, I think that having like last year Donnarumma and Hakan, they left, but they still played the season and we ended up making the Champions League partially because of them. So I think I want to be as competitive as possible, and I would still play Kessie. And of course, I want him to renew. I hope the management, they didn't end up selling him this summer, so I hope that they have positive feelings, but I can only hope about renewing him.
Yeah, I mean, I would play Kessie too. But if he leaves, then I wouldn't like bring back the topic of Kessie left, and I wouldn't like really get depressed over it.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, guys, with Elliot, like we're getting to a point now where Milan's becoming a bigger club that's more profitable. So I'm expecting they're going to sell in the next year or two. That's just my personal opinion because they want to make a profit. But Elliot themselves, if players want these big club wages, like in England, PSG, whatever, Elliot is not going to pay those wages because Elliot is not going to invest the money like a big club. So let's just get like that's just something that all the Milan fans have to understand. They have wage limits.
The thing is, how I see it is the players are developing faster than what the management expects from them. So basically, as a club, the players are growing faster than the club is growing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I understand 100%. The club is growing in the sense of it's not gonna exceed
Like
what it was intended to do.
Like Kessie is developing far further than what the club expects him to, so that's why he's asking for a high wage bill when the club can't afford that yet.
Yeah, and what gets me annoyed is that the Elliott are this investment fund, and they don't mind losing these players on freeze when they could be making money from them. So I mean, it's just confusing.
I mean, I liked what Rohit said the other day. He said that in terms of the balance book, it reduces the cost, so it's a good thing. But there is an opportunity cost where you could have sold the players. But in terms of the balance sheet and in terms of our financial books, it's actually good that they left for free. It's just that you're missing an opportunity cost, which does not affect the balance books.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate reality of what the management is right now, and
I mean, it makes sense though. Like, if
they
he
had to
leaves,
lift us out of debt.
yeah, if Kessie leaves for free, it's a cost we can, write off.
The thing is this. So I know there's financial fair play factors. I know that we were in debt, but at the same time, it's a lie if you say that Milan right now isn't spending money because of outside factors. And I mean, those factors are playing a role, but there's other clubs with way more depth than us that spend more than us and pay players on higher wages. So it's the management.
Is it sustainable though? That's the question.
Exactly.
That's what Maldini keeps on saying on his interview, that he wants Milan to be a sustainable club, which I want that too. I don't want an investor coming into the club, investing for 5 years, then selling the club, and we're back to shit again.
That's true, but at the same time, it's not Maldini's choice right now. It's Elliot's choice.
But Maldini said in an interview that so for the next owner, he has a plan of sustainability. He'll make sure that the club doesn't go back to shit.
Yeah, no. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely sustainable, but I think I'm not asking. I joke around about the Saudi Arabian investment fund, and I honestly like. I'm not saying we need somebody that rich to come dump money in and become PSG, but a new owner would allow us to pay higher wages. Wages are at least like look at what PSG is doing with their wages. How can you compete with those wages?
It's a
You
bubble. It's a bubble, man.
you
Like
need. I'm not saying we have to pay players 30 million a
PSG is a
year.
bubble, man. Sooner or later, they're gonna go. They're gonna suffer sooner or later.
Well,
Like it's
I'm
gonna
just saying.
happen at
No,
one
I
point.
know, but I'm just saying I want to pay higher wages to our players with a new ownership. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying we have to spend
The
100 million for a
as
player.
as Rohit said, we can't afford to spend those wages. Rohit said that.
Not now, but I think I'm not. Look, I don't want to improve them drastically, but I would hope that with our next owner, we can pay Kessie 8 million a year or 7 million a year, whatever, to
And
exceed the wage limit a little bit.
that's gonna happen if we get into UCL for 5 years in a row or 4 years in a row.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Kessie, sign the ting, please. Yes, sign it. Can we bench Kessie? No, I disagree with that. We've got to act like a big club and try to resign our top players, or else we won't get anywhere, and top four will be our limit. AC Milan, or at Milan, we need more than this. The fans are used to more than this from the past, but unfortunately, our owners are thinking about making Champions League, and if they can't, like we just said, they can't exceed certain limits. So we're going to need to change ownership eventually. I'm in love with the club, but I'm not in love with the management. I'm in love with the club, and if we can continually make Champions League and win most of our games until they sell, I don't mind. And then hopefully we can luck our way to like a Scudetto or something along the way. That's my goal. That's my goal, personally. If they really wanted to invest this summer to win the Scudetto, it wouldn't have been too hard. Like to sign a couple players. They signed a lot of depth players. We can still win the Scudetto, but they could have been clear favorites in my opinion if they had like solved some issues in the attack especially. But that they're being stable. That's
Anto, let me ask you this, Anto. Do you think Kessie's request is far fetched? He's asking 7.5 million.
Yeah. Yes, but at the same time, it's not as crazy as what some other
Yeah,
players
it's not as
ask
crazy,
for.
but what we're offering from what the reporter is saying 6.5 million, right? Or
I think
6 million.
around 6 million, I would say.
Okay, so it's just a million. Okay, a million is a lot of money, but if Kessie
It's a million 1 year, and then it gets multiplied.
yeah, but if Kessie, if Kessie, he said that he wants to be president forever and stuff like that, then put some action behind your words and sign that damn contract.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
what Tonali did.
I will just so about Tonali, what I will say is, of course, I agree with you. At the same time, though, Tonali just came off of a poor year, and so he didn't have too many options of teams that wanted to invest a lot in him. So,
But
still,
Calabria,
of course,
did Calabria ask for 5 million? No.
exactly. No, it's still. I'm just saying that's a little bit of a factor.
Did Tomori ask for 6-7 million?
No, of course not.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that was a factor. I would say that maybe why he would reduce his wages, but still, of course, he's more of a Milanista at heart than right now than Kessie. So I hope this gets resolved. With all the CMs we have, who are your starting 2 CDMs? That's a great question. I'm seeing a lot of this on social media. What do you think? You go first.
Kessie and Benacer.
I would say Kessie for sure. And then either Benacer or Tonali. That's the question. If Benacer, for right now, I'm gonna say Kessie and Tonali for right now. But Benacer has been better in the past, of course.
Benacer has a lot of fitness issues. Like he's on and off. He's never like consistent, in my opinion. He gets injured. Then when he comes back off the injury, he plays like crap for like 2 or 3 games. Then he's back in form. Then 3 or 2 games after, he gets injured again.
So, yeah, post-COVID, like at the end of the season 2 years ago, and then the first half until he got injured of our like big season last year, he was up. People were saying he was as good as Kessie. Some people.
He was actually very good. Like
Yeah, and
he was competing with Barella.
Yeah, exactly. People were saying I would see on social media who's better, Barella, Kessie, Milinkovic Savic, or Benacer. I would see like people making all these comparisons. Best midfielder. Then he got injured. Everyone forgot about him, and then he came back and he was underwhelming at many different times. So that's the thing with him is can he get back to that high level defensively? He was amazing. He would make minimal passing mistakes. But so that's why right now I would say Tonali is in better form. So Kessie and Tonali right now. Kessie's injured, but from what I know, Kessie is our best defensive midfielder.
But starting, I would start Kessie Benacer. Let's say that Benacer wasn't injured and Benacer is in form. I'd play Kessie and Benacer.
Okay. Well, if we're saying so, if Benacer is
if
in
Benacer
the best
is
form of his
100%,
life, then yeah, okay, fine. If Benacer is in his top form,
yeah,
I would say Benacer. I have to because we haven't seen Tonali, but we're just starting to see Tonali's top form so far, and we don't know how good he can be. So that's interesting, and I'm really excited. And I think Çalhanoğlu being gone will give him more free kick chances and whatever more opportunities. So I think that is going to be an interesting debate later on in the season if we see more of him. If Kessie leaves, I will not support this management until they leave. Yeah, you don't have to. That's different from saying you won't support the club. The management, of course, you can't really cheer them on. I mean, they did save us. Okay, you can applaud them for being financially responsible.
I mean, if Kessie leaves, I'll blame Kessie. I'll not support Kessie because
the thing is this:
it was up to him. It was up to him. He can sign that contract. It's 6.5 million.
But that's the thing, though. We never know 100% for sure what the exact figures are in the deal. I think, unless a news report comes out that's very, very accurate, but the numbers are always a bit different. So, if we offer him 6.5 million, I would blame Kessie also. The difference is that people are making is that other clubs would meet Kessie, would not let him leave for free. They don't let their best players leave for free, but like I said, this management is limited with what they can do. So that's fair to say you want a different management that can actually maintain our players and increase the wages. That's your opinion, of course.
But what if we increase Kessie's wages to 8 million and he's inconsistent and gets injured? Then we're paying him 8 million to just sit around. There is some risk to it.
Yeah, so what Milan is doing right now is will always be sustainable with the way they're spending.
I like that a lot.
With their management. So that is what the management's whole idea is. And if you don't like that, because, it's not really the big club mentality, that's a fair point. I believe that we need to change owners eventually. But that's my opinion. I'm going to put the link back in the chat again, just in case anyone else wants to join. So there you go. That is the link for anyone else to jump in. Okay. Yes, we need Elliot to sell. Hopefully Arnaud or Oil Prince becomes our sugar daddy. We need to be able to keep players. Eventually, yes, I would like that.
Elliot's goal is to sell in the future. So I think it is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. They want to. I think I heard that they want to increase the value of the team to 1 billion and then sell.
Which I don't mind at all.
Nope. They made us healthy, and if we can get a smart owner,
back to the Champions League.
Right.
And they gave us a great squad.
Elliot is sitting there thinking the Elliot management, whatever, they're an investment fund, but the people who are in charge of
think about it. They gave us a great squad without investing a lot of money in.
Right, and that's why what gets me pissed off is when Milan gets disrespected for whatever they do, either financially or for coming in second place. They're like, oh, you didn't win the Scudetto, you were winning at halftime. Do you realize, or halfway through the season, do you realize how much money we invested compared to, let's say, Inter, who had Conte on those wages, who had paid 80 million for Lukaku? They bought Hakimi and they never even really paid for him because whatever, they had their issues. But compared to them, with what we did with our management, was spending much less, we did a very good job. That's why I'm proud of Milan.
And this is why I'm saying I don't want, an owner just spending money like it's nothing, and then we end up like Inter with financial problems.
Yeah, I don't think, of course, I never want us to end up like Inter, but at the same time, if we keep this up, it's unlikely. Like, we're never going to be a favorite to win a trophy, and we're never going to be like in that like title. I mean, we can get lucky and win a trophy, but we're never going to be in that like top tier trophy winning
If
team
if we
position.
make UCL consecutively, then I think that we'll get to that point where we could renew players for what they're asking.
Yes, but by the time
So
that happens,
the
by the
goal
time
in the short run is to make UCL 3 to 4 years in a row, so that we can be able to have those world class players and pay them what they want.
yes, but I'm just going to say it again. By the time that happens, I think Elliot would have sold the club. Also, guys, we have Rohit joining us. Thanks. Hello, Rohit. How are you doing? Welcome. I don't know if you heard what we were talking about so far, but how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good, thanks. So what are you guys talking about?
So we're talking about, I mean, this is like a very long discussion, so I kind of want to keep it moving, but we were talking about first Kessie's renewal because fans are, everyone is scared. Then that led to Elliot, the management with their wage limits, and if we want a new owner eventually, and there's obviously other factors like with the pandemic and financial fair play and all these issues, but at the end of the day, I was saying Elliot is probably going to resell the team for profit in the next couple years, and by the time we make Champions League consistently enough to really be in a good financial position, I wouldn't be surprised if there were new owners. So, and I was just saying that this is probably one of the reasons why we don't have the ambitions of, let's say, one of the big European clubs or like trophy favorites. So that's just my position. I guess we can move on because, I mean, yeah, we talked a lot about the club. Also, contention of signing top players like Mbappe and Haaland. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not even asking for Milan to necessarily sign like the best of the best. It would be amazing if we could. It would be fun, but also we'd have to spend a lot of money.
We can't do it right now.
Right now I'm no
we need
way.
4 years of making it into the UCL,
and we need a new owner because Elliot's never going to spend 100 million for one player. So
you never know, though. That's debatable, in my opinion.
I was actually there were theories people were saying that, I mean, this is 100% BS, but that Elliot would maybe, like, if they had the chance to sign like a big player this summer, like Messi or something, that they would do it because of the financial revenue that Messi creates. But that's just 100% BS.
Thing is, if we sign Messi for a shit ton of money for his contract, then Kessie would be like, he'll be asking for more money.
Kessie is not Messi, so
I know, but you'd still set a precedent for the rest of the squad. If you've got Messi earning 20 million a year, then Kessie is gonna be like, oh, I want 10.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't the club revenue go towards the salary, not the money from owners? Like, if we don't generate the revenue itself, the rich owner can't keep paying the salary on a loss. Rahi, can you answer this? Do you know?
He's offline.
Okay. Oh, actually, no. You're muted, Rohit. If you mean to be muted, unmute yourself. But if not, he's probably just taking a call or something. But okay. Doesn't the club revenue go towards the salary? I mean, a part of it should, but I doubt that PSG makes more. I mean, now they maybe do because of all the players they signed, but they don't make more revenue than Real Madrid or Manchester United or teams with these huge fan bases. So it's not just about the revenue.
It depends on the owner, I think. If he could reinvest that money if he wants to, or he could put it in his own pockets.
Okay. Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, the owner's a huge role.
Yeah.
Florenzi was not up to the mark in Italy's game. Don't know how he will cope it with the UCL games. Yes, we give him time. After we get through these financial discussions, I want to talk about our rotation and players.
And Giroud.
Of course, Giroud's big. But yeah, Florenzi, give him time. of course, I admit he wasn't good, but we'll see. We'll see. We have plenty of competition, so he's going to have to step it up in that position. They want to sell at 1 billion, yes, but as of the current moment, we're one stadium away from 1 billion. Yeah, the whole stadium situation is very frustrating. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
So we pay
No.
money. We pay money to play on San Siro, right? In the San Siro.
I'm not sure how much we have to pay, but
No, we pay money to play in the San Siro, right?
I think so. But we do make a lot of profit.
But it's not our pitch. It's the
It's the
pitch.
cities. Yeah. Yes.
So you gotta build your own stadium now. That's what I think. You gotta build your own stadium because you don't want that.
Right, and the thing is, in order to finance that, they're gonna need Inter's help. So it's a mess with the stadium. No progress right now.
We need our own stadium, honestly, because you can't be paying for the San Siro.
Yeah, well, the problem also with the San Siro is that it's an old stadium, so it's not the best for marketing and creating revenue, like the modern stadiums are that are more higher technology, and they have more they're better at selling different. I went to the San Siro basically. I've seen a Milan game at the pitch. I know some people are probably like, "Oh, I've seen so many games," but for me, I live far away, and my family in Italy is not from Milano, so I had to travel there. And I went to watch a game a few years ago, and I was pretty at first I thought the stadium it's beautiful, it's iconic. San Siro's old, has tradition.
Yeah, I've been to the San Siro too, but I've never watched a game.
Yeah. I went inside, and the pitch is really nice, and I like the roof it looks nice. It's kind of like the roof, it's elevated. It has the metal bars.
Ironically, it kind of looks futuristic in a way. The corner,
mm-hmm. Yes,
corner. Yeah.
Yes. But when you actually walk around, and you're not in the stadium, the seats are, of course, older. But when you're not in that and you go behind, into the corridors around the stadium, it's very, there's not much. In America, in our stadiums, we have, everything is commercialized. We have all the food there's a million food places everywhere. They're trying to get you to sell, and they're trying to sell you overpriced food and drinks, merchandise overpriced at stadiums. And at the San Siro, I'm not saying it wasn't overpriced, but it was very far behind some of the more the more higher end stadiums that we have today. So that is, of course, something that needs to be addressed in the future. To be honest, if we actually won the Scudetto last season, Inter and Juve would be hella in the mud. Yeah, Juve is already in the mud, and Inter was able to reinvest a little bit after selling their players, and they're okay, but we have to see how they do. But I don't know.
I saw today that Martinez and Correa scored for Argentina.
Both players.
Yeah.
Wow. Correa, man.
Inter honestly did some good business, man.
Yeah, of course. Marotta is good, but at the same time, they had more money initially. They built their team. They had a good base.
They got
their defense.
Dzeko, Correa.
Yeah, this summer they were smart in the sense of what they had to do, of course. But they're I repeat again, their defense is what they build up from the back. That's what makes them really good, in my opinion. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a very interesting derby this year. We have to see. Still have to see. It's only 2 games into the season, and we have a big test coming up against Lazio, and they haven't been tested by one of the big 7 yet. So let's see how we do.
Yeah, Giroud is not playing.
Yeah.
That's a big issue.
Well, actually, we don't know that yet, but I'll get to that. Let me just go quickly. We are 2 CL qualifications for making up profits. Yeah, I would think so, hopefully. Did you guys hear Leonardo actually bid 120 euros? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did see that we bid 100 million or something for Milinkovic-Savic. It's crazy. He's good, but he's not that good. Come on. That money would buy you anyone except for Haaland and Mbappe, basically. Also, I don't know what's worse, the bid or Lazio rejecting it. Exactly, they rejected the bid. Revenue is money earned from sponsors. Okay. Expenses are wages, stadium rent, costs of upkeep for Casa Milan and other
I
facilities.
think we own Casa Milan now.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, Milan did buy it from. No, I think didn't Berlusconi own it?
I think we bought it.
Yeah, Milan did acquire. I remember. All right. The stadium talks apparently stalled because Inter became broke, or we were planning to get our own stadium. Yeah, but we can't finance a huge, marvelous stadium by ourselves. I just don't see it. Unless, we want to use Kessie's wage money and just use that to build the stadium. Debts and repayment of bank loans are also expenses. Inter have 1 billion in debts, so they have hella future expenses. Okay. So I guess now, great comments. Thank you for that financial explanation, Ali. So I guess now we can talk about Milan a bit, like the players, and stick to a little bit more, simple topics.
Hi guys. Sorry,
Intense.
I got caught up with work. So what are you guys discussing?
We just finished talking about like some financial aspects with the stadium and other issues. And now I kind of wanted to talk about the different players and tactics and some
Yeah. So I
concerns that I
missed my
have.
favorite part.
If you want to talk about the stadium and what's stalling it, and when do you think if progress will come, about rebuilding this.
I mean, for the financial part, I think it's it's high time that people, I mean, especially Milan fans, understood. So in 2003, when we were like under Berlusconi, we were like the top three earning clubs in the world. Manchester United and Real Madrid and AC Milan were top three earning clubs in the world at 200 million a year. The sad part is in 2021, we are still stuck on 200 million a year, while Manchester United and Real Madrid are earning a 1 billion. So this is where I think there is a huge gap that exists between the Premier League clubs and the top clubs and Italian clubs as a general, in general, because even Juventus are not doing all that well financially. I think their net spend this year has been, I mean, not net spend. I think just their general spend this year has been like around under 10 million. They just took Caio Jorge on a free transfer. Not on, I mean, on a permanent transfer. Rest all, I mean, it's been nothing. So Inter Milan only were able to. I mean, Inter Milan even took Correa on a loan. It's not a permanent transfer there as well. So actually, they haven't spent a lot of money either. So you have the top three Italian clubs not being able to spend a lot of money thanks to the pandemic. Now coming to the stadium aspect, uh, it was Juventus who actually took that lead, and they actually invested in the stadium. And I mean, AC Milan, Juventus have a capacity of 39 to 40,000 in their stadium, while the San Siro has a capacity of 80,000 to 100,000. 100,000. And just look at I mean, in general, the stadium revenue the stadium revenue for Inter Milan and AC Milan is around about 30 to 40 million, while Juventus are earning 70 million in a year.
Rohit, just to add on to that point, I said this. I think you would kind of agree. And from my personal experience, I've actually been to the San Siro, and I kind of compared it with stadiums in America. At the San Siro, I've been there once to see a game because, like I said, I don't live there, and my family isn't from Milano, so I don't really go there often. But when I was there, the outside of it, of course, it wasn't high tech, but it looked, of course, beautiful, with very historic. The roof is nice. On the field itself is very beautiful, and the seats were kind of old, but at the same time, they were still, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't, they weren't the comfiest, whatever. But then the real problem is in the tunnels, the corridors in between, like not off the field, when there's supposed to be merchandise and food and beverages being sold. Because I'm comparing this to like American stadiums that I've seen, And everywhere you go in American stadiums, there's overpriced food, beverages, merchandise, like multiple places all along to sell and make revenue. And at the San Siro, everything was kind of old and there wasn't much like going on in that sense to market and advertise these things. So I definitely felt like, yeah, there was a bit to something a bit too, it's a bit too historic in that sense. So that's probably why a new stadium would be needed. So I was just sharing that point.
Rohit, do we pay to play in the San Siro?
Yes, I think we pay around 15 million as a rent. Like both of the clubs pay like 15 million. I mean, it would add up to 30 million. 15 million by Inter and another 15 million by us. So that's 30 million. I'm not actually sure of these figures. It was a rumor. I mean, since these are not actually announced by the club. And also one more, the sad state of all of this is that the stadium is not owned by us, but if any repairs or any damage does come, it's again the money is coming out of our pocket.
That's
It's
why we need a
actually
new stadium.
we need a new stadium. I even read an experience from a fan on Twitter, whereby he said that he went with his wife, and the bathrooms or the toilets for the ladies and the gents were absolutely horrible. No maintenance at all. And like you said, it's overpriced food and beverages. One big point that Mercedes raised was that there's actually no like a VIP lounge, which actually would earn a lot more money than it's like it's for customization. It's actually done. It's actually a thing that if you spend more, you actually get more facilities. So that's the kind of thing that actually they want to introduce. But it's not just AC Milan. You can look at Roma as well. They are also trying to move away from the Olimpico, but there are so many bureaucratic issues and red tapeism from the Italian government and FIGC. It's actually a sad state of affairs that a club cannot even build their own stadium if they want to.
Yeah,
But
it's complicated.
do Milan have the funds to build their own stadium?
That would have to come from the owners. That would have to come from. I mean, the owners can finance the investments, and it would actually add to our debt. But then this does not affect the FFP. The FFP has no involvement in terms of stadium. The FFP is only uh, like involves in wages and transfers. So that won't be an issue for us. You can see Tottenham have built a world-class stadium, and I don't know how much they are earning since they built the stadium just before the COVID. But I'm sure that they're easily earning around about 100 million every year just from the stadium. So imagine if we have 100 million every year, we can so easily go for all of these players that we are trying to buy instead of I mean
Yeah, we could have
we
had
can't.
Vlasic.
Yes, exactly. We can't even afford. I mean, we can't even afford a 15 million player. It's a horrible. Yeah.
Just 2 points. First of all, I did see the Tottenham Stadium, and it did remind me of like these American stadiums that I see, like very high tech, very new with lounges, and very different from the San Siro, of course. But I want to ask you, in your opinion, do you think that Elliott would even invest in a new stadium, considering that their plans are to sell Milan in the near future? Like, do you think they would want to start and invest in a stadium, or do you think it has to be a new owner that has to do that?
Okay, so I'll give you a simplified example. I mean, I'll give you a good example to understand this in a different analogy. You are a prospective buyer of this club, right? So Antonio's a zillionaire who wants to buy AC Milan because he loves AC
One day I
Milan.
will. One day.
Yeah. So let's let's. I mean, just not AC Milan. You are a passionate football fan. You are a rich Qatari guy. You want to buy a club, but you are also somebody who has a lot of. I mean, you are kind of like you see it as a business, not just as a football club. So you actually want to make money out of this. You want to make profits. Uh, you want to make profits, but also in the same. I mean, you also want to be successful. So would you actually buy a Premier League club or a Serie A club?
That's Premier League if you want to be successful, of course. In
Yeah.
that
So
sense.
I mean, what if you look at the kind of takeovers that have happened, or the rumors that are coming for the takeovers, no big businessman actually wants to buy any big clubs in Italy. So the main reason we actually had a fraud in Yong Hong Lee buy the club and run it to the ground. Why didn't any big owner? I mean, obviously AC Milan has so much of history, 7-time UCL champs, and this and that. So much of history and so much of champion DNA. Why? So the question is, why isn't anybody ready to buy this club? The simple answer is that we are not profitable. No businessman actually wants to buy us because of so many bureaucratic issues and red tapeism actually hindered our money making revenue streams. We actually do not have a 3 billion what do you say, a 3 billion TV deal. I think I can easily give another example of Stan Kroenke, the owner of Arsenal.
Hmm.
He doesn't even know what is offside. He's actually invested. He actually invested way more money into his baseball team. The some team called the Rams, and they just won the equivalent of the Champions League for baseball. So there was a huge load of Arsenal fans shouting and screaming, saying, "Why can't he invest?" Obviously, he's not passionate for football. He just sees this as a business. So when you take the example of Kroenke, he actually sees Arsenal as a cash cow. He's making a lot of money through Arsenal because Arsenal can afford it. They have actually a huge stadium, a 60,000 stadium where fans even just go there to see their team lose. And Arsenal actually has the most expensive season ticket in all of the Premier League clubs. So
Yeah.
yeah, so they actually have lots of revenue making avenues there, and they're one of the top 10 like revenue making clubs. So when you're comparing the Premier League and the Serie A clubs, even as a huge team with a lot of trophies and stuff, as a businessman, what kind of what kind of money making avenue do we have? So
So
it's yeah. So I was going to come to my point. So if Elliot are actually ready to build a stadium, or they actually get the final approval to go ahead with the project, I think then we can actually attract way more investors, because that's another way of making a lot more money.
It
And
increases the valuation for the club if you build a stadium.
yeah, it would actually increase. And Elliot can say, you know what, Elliot can say to the prospective buyer, hey, you know what, I actually got you the permit for building the stadium. Now it's on you. You give me this 1 billion that I want. And the prospective buyer would look at the revenues and say, oh yeah, with this stadium, they're actually going to get more money and we can actually use it into and pour it into the club instead of paying it from my own pocket. So actually it increases the revenue.
yeah, yeah. Okay, but just to clarify, and then I kind of just want to go through the comments and then maybe talk about the player, just another topic. But do you think Elliot can actually finance the stadium themselves, and would they do it? Like,
Elliott is one of the largest hedge funds in the world. They actually held two international governments in Korea and Argentina to ransom. They actually even captured Argentina's battleship for non-payment of their debt. So
mm,
you have a general idea of as to the kind of power that Elliott has. Why Elliott is not investing into Milan is because it's actually we are a loss-making machine. I mean, we've accumulated more than 1 billion losses over the last 8 years. So why would any businessman or anybody actually throw his money away into the club? And I mean, especially with Leonardo, they had their hand burnt. So I mean, once you get your hand burnt, you're not always going to throw money into the pot and make another 200 million loss, especially when the economy is very what do you say? The economics is very bad with this corona situation. There's no money in the system, so they can actually they can actually finance with liquid cash. They can actually finance anything with liquid cash.
Yeah, they paid
Uh,
for Piatek.
They
30,
just
30.
paid 35 million in one installment to Genoa for Piontek, and that actually helped them to stay up that season because they refinanced. I mean, they financed their own transfers with that 35 million.
Yeah.
Elliot is actually really powerful. They can even give the Qataris a go for their money. But the thing is, uh, unlike PSG or unlike the Premier League clubs, there is actually no way you can make money in a dead country like Italy, where actually it's not just AC Milan. I think Juventus and Agnelli has been crying out for so much of change, and still there is no change. I mean,
So
and you,
no.
yeah.
So basically, the moral of this is we should be refocusing our anger and like concerns with the state of Italy, and not necessarily with our owners.
I mean, I mean, you just forget Elliot. Just look at Juventus. They have been, uh, like what do you say? They have been dominating Italy for 9 years. They even made it to two CL finals, and still they went broke after signing Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, they. I mean, from a fan's point of view, it's they always want their owners to show ambition. I mean, we all wanted during Berlusconi's era, we all wanted the best players to join us, and Berlusconi replied in kind. So I mean, everybody wanted. I mean, they wanted the best player. And there's no argument that Cristiano Ronaldo was one of the best players. He just won a Champions League before he signed for Juventus, and Juventus craved for a Champions League. They've got like fed up of winning Serie A. It was already theirs to, it was just they had to play 38 games to win the Serie A because Serie A was already theirs, and there was no other team to challenge them. So when they signed Cristiano Ronaldo, the Agnelis showed a lot of ambition, but they didn't have enough finances to build a team around him, and they went broke. And now, I mean, they even specified on their official news that Cristiano Ronaldo gave them a loss of 14 million on the books.
Mm.
So you can actually see, and this was also another. This is just a small example. The TV rights for Serie A was sold to Australia 5 hours before the Inter's first match kicked off. That was the first match of Serie A. You have English Premier League giving out their schedules. I mean, deciding their schedules 1 month before the first match of the Premier League, and you have these clowns. I don't have. I wish I could have harsher words. I mean, I have harsher words, but I don't want to use it on mainstream media. These bloody clowns have actually no idea of how to market their league. You have such a huge market in India where people are slowly developing a taste for football and getting over cricket craze, and you have a huge market in China where Manchester United and Real Madrid are tapping in and making around about 90 million a year. Why the hell can't Italian league do that? Why can't we market? Paramount, the TV station Paramount, they're actually using the IFTV
Yeah.
people to do their commentary. I
Yeah,
know.
I
I mean,
noticed that as well.
and actually, they're doing a better job than the previous commentators that we had
Yeah,
in our
listen,
broadcast.
I don't know if that was a dig at IFTV, but I'm not
No, no,
saying.
no.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I didn't assume it was, but I like the move. I'm not. I don't agree with IFTV. Like most of the time when I watch their videos, I just get mad because the only person representing Milan on their videos is someone who just is kind of crazy. Not saying I don't like him, but but he never really talks a lot of sense. But anyways, I did like that move, and I'm sure Rohit's gonna agree in the sense because at least it provided a bit more excitement, and it just Paramount is approaching the Serie A with like more professionalism and attention to detail, I think. So that's why I do appreciate that, and but the thing is, this is all external. This isn't the league that's doing this.
Exactly,
It's that
exactly.
the providers are having to like adapt themselves and kind of make the best with the situation. So
Exactly. I mean, that's my point. I mean, as much as there is actually no move from Serie A to bring out the best. It actually has to come from TV providers where they have people coming in and trying involving the fans and involving normal fans, trying to reach out to the public and all of that through all of these moves. Where in India you have every day you have a show for the Premier League where they actually have Skype calls with fans to let out their opinion and stuff like that, which actually has a kind of a huge impact on the crowd here. But what does Serie A do for this?
Yeah,
Nothing.
they need to improve their product. Their product isn't really good.
With
Are you sure it's
AC
the
Milan
product
has
or is it the
It's the
advertising?
product after the games, you know.
Ah,
The
yeah.
package,
Their
the
content.
package. Yeah, the package, the content package.
Yeah.
the
Okay, Rohit.
the
I know you're gonna make a last point, and then I kind of want to read the chat and catch up, and then maybe switch topics. But go ahead, Rohit.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is that when there is actually no kind of effort from the league for the last 20-25 years, where they still think that Calcio 90 is gonna save them because people are just gonna talk about what happened 25 years ago. It's a poor marketing thing. So when uh, the new CEO of Lega Serie A came in, that's Dal Pino, I thought there was going to be change. But the only change that happened was that teams cannot wear green color shirts and shorts or whatever that is, because it would like, what do you say, mimic the color of the grass. This is the kind of era that Serie A is living in, the while in the La Liga and English Premier League are moving an HD quality television screens. It's absolutely pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
By the way, about that,
Yes.
so what's happening with that? Because Sassuolo, don't they have to change their jerseys?
No, Sassuolo actually have green and black, so it actually does not. They have dark green. It
Ah,
does.
so it has to be like the whole jersey. If it was green, they would have
Yeah,
to.
I think Lazio had something like that last year.
Okay, okay.
Very a neon kind of green, which actually does like
Yes,
it kind
yes,
of
yes.
matches off with the grass color, so it looks like that.
Yeah, that was crazy. All right, guys, let's catch up with the chat, and then I want to talk about the players and some tactics and just the squad depth and Pioli. So good topics. To be fair, before Berlusconi sold the club, we've been talking about the 40K capacity stadium in another district. Fans were complaining about the historical value of the San Siro, and the government were difficult to negotiate with back then. That's when Berlusconi decided to sell the club. Bureaucracy in Italy is horrible. Yeah, 100%. The unfortunate part of it is we want to build a 1 billion cost stadium that would require Inter to pay half. The league's marketing is below par as well. Yeah, that's what we just mentioned. We need a new stadium. Yep, agreed. Roy joined. I did notice that. So hello, Roy. Skillard joined. Hello, Skillard. Roy, the Juventus fan, is here, ladies and gentlemen. Even when Arsenal are in the mud, they have lots of TV money. I know, man. Like, does Milan? Like, I'm sure Rohit's been following Arsenal. I followed Arsenal in the Premier League. It's crazy, the poor performances that they have, and all the money, and they've spent the most money on transfers out of teams in Europe this year. So, good morning, all. Skillard. Kroenke invests into Arsenal, but they just make terrible footballing decisions because the wrong people are in charge. Galliani, Roy. Nice. Arsenal are 20th, yet are top spenders. Exactly. We can't compete with them anymore. It's done. I mean, hopefully one day things will change. Good morning. Skill Krunic. That's a good name. The club can make money from Bunga Bunga parties. We've got to make Serie A attractive enough to earn those TV revenues.
It is.
It is attractive enough. The thing is that
It's the extra
league,
content. They don't have extra content.
I mean, I'm sure if they organized it better, they could even get these TV revenues. They're just not organized.
Something behind the scenes, that would be nice, you know.
Yeah, like even it's just media-wise, they need to do so much better. Roy was at one of those parties. Huh. Very funny. Fino alla fine, ladies and gentlemen, Roy is a Juventus supporter. Just so you know. Elliot consider us an asset that was obtained by loan default. We are not a pet project or anything, but if we manage to convince Elliot that we can be self-sustaining asset, they may invest. Yeah, but like Rohit just explained, self-sustaining in Serie A is difficult. So there you go. LV will buy us. Louis Vuitton, yeah. Rohit, CR7 is nothing compared to RK33. Sounds pretty good, I have to admit. Everyone and their mom after Kessie. LV better buy us fast. Yeah, Kessie's, we're not going to go there again, let's just say. Andres Krunichesta. Even MLS teams offering Kessie more money. What? Roy, I want to find that source. Roy. Happy Krunic Eastbourne. It's Eastbourne joined. Okay, that's nice. A lot of new viewers. Don't forget the L for Lord. It's LRK33. Eastbourne is here. What's up, Eastbourne? Don't know if Bosnia has a president. Italy today matched Spain's record one more game. Yes, we talked about Italy early on in the stream. Ollie, thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Rohit is right. There's so much potential in the Indian market. Teams like Leipzig, Dortmund have already started tapping into it. None of the Serie A clubs have been able to do so. Yeah, but once again, it's because of the league's ability to advertise in India. I mean, that would facilitate. That would facilitate the clubs. Which Antonio Ali? Bro, very funny, man. Not Antonio Conte. Let's just say that. He's not talking about Antonio Conte. Oh, he's talking about the Antonio from IFTV. So there you go. I guess no thanks. I will not thank you anymore.
He's a character. Antonio from
right. He wasn't talking about me. So now I'm offended.
IFTV is pretty entertaining, honestly.
It's entertaining, of course, but they always suss Milan out. Florenzi looks great against Bulgaria. I think he's being sarcastic. Have to admit. Krunic is Milan's best midfielder, and that is a fact. No, Roy, it's not a fact. Tony from IFTV carries that show at the same level as Lord Krunic carries Milan to victory. Very nice. The official AC Milan page is a translation into Mandarin, but should have translations for the large Indian market. Yeah, I do have to on social media. I do see that Milan do a lot of posts about different holidays for different religions. So I mean, they're trying to be like a modern brand, but
they got Twitch, right?
Yeah, they did get to. I do follow their Twitch. Follow Milan's Twitch, by the way, and Rossonati's Twitch. I don't know if you prefer to watch streams on Twitch. We do dual stream all of these, so you can watch them on Twitch. And AC Milan they go live pretty frequently. But the thing is, they're always in Italian, so you kind of have to. I think there's subtitles, but you have to know Italian maybe to really follow along. Italy played okay. Mobley was quite poor. Oh, finally, Roy admits that the strikers are poor. Also, I noticed a lot of fans from Indonesia, country. Yes, with over 200 million population, they need to market to these countries for revenue. Guys, Milan is a global brand. We're the most global Italian team. Come on now. Mobley should only play for Lazio. Yeah, he should retire from the national team. Trying to arrange an Italian passport for Krunic. They sell the Serie A in Italy like super pros. It's amazing how they do it. All they need to do is translate in other languages, but not hiring zombies that they hate the jobs they're doing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They're not even that good at advertising. I wouldn't even. I mean, they do. I mean, look, in Italy, everyone understands Italian, so they have ex-pros. I do. Yeah, that's a good point. That talk about the Serie A, of course. But the thing is, like in Italy, they don't even have to work too hard because Italian people watch the Serie A, like it's just tradition. But outside of that, yeah, they have to persuade others. Indonesia, Pakistan, all are good marketing countries. Berlusconi era, the Milan Glory team used to play friendly games in Indonesia. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't know that. Antonio's a closet Juve fan. Not true. Roy, not true, buddy. I have DMs of Roy talking about Juve and how great they are. So
Exposed.
yeah, Pioli most likely to help Krunic get an Italian passport. Yes, he's adopting Krunic. A lot of Krunic talk, guys. He's like, I feel like Krunic should be the new banner of the channel. Talk about the moron Pioli. Did Pellegrini? Okay, we're gonna get to this. Pellegrini in the CL list, and Giroud got the Rona. Hashtag.
I mean, who could have predicted that? No, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but the list wasn't finalized. But when he got COVID, I think he still had time to finalize it. But anyways, Pioli out. Okay, here we go. He's not in the CL squad. Yep, we're about to get to that. Pioli out now. We had to leave one more player, plus Drew will be back for the international break is out. Hopefully he will be. Who did you want them to leave out if not Pellegrini? Okay, so let's talk about this. And I'm going to go to their website I'm just going to actually scroll around because I've just had this open. Just so you guys see 6th place. Or 6 points, 4th place. Only 2 games in. But I believe if you go to the news section, official statement, Giroud, he's tested positive for COVID, which we all know. And he is projected to be back by the Lazio game on September 12th. That's what people are saying. If this goes the normal, if this follows
If he
normal.
comes back September 12th, he wouldn't be fit to play that game.
Well, he probably is training at home. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's training at home.
It's not the same as training with the squad.
Right, but I don't know. We'll see. People are saying that he can still play that game. Also, Ibra is training with the team. I wanted to pull up, while we discuss this topic, we can pull up some training pictures because we can scroll through these pictures.
If Giroud isn't ready for Lazio, who would you put in that striker position?
Okay. If Giroud isn't ready for Lazio, is Ibra not ready either? Is that what we're applying?
Yeah.
Because people are saying that there's a chance that Ibra can come back.
I've read in Gazzetta saying that Giroud might not be available for Lazio, and Pioli is thinking either Rebic or Leao up top.
Right. I did read that as well, but we don't know if Ibra can play even part of the game. So this is the thing.
Yeah, but then we have Liverpool.
Of course.
The timing couldn't have gone any better.
Okay, Rohit is back because we're getting into some good conversations here. Rohit, we're talking about the squad depth and the Giroud's COVID, and just what to do from Pioli's decision making here. So, of course, everyone.
What is there to do?
Right. So, well.
He said Pellegrini isn't ready yet.
Let's talk about this for a second.
Giroud got the Rona. Ibra is just coming back from injury. So who are you going to play? You only got Rebic and Leao.
Right,
that's a problem.
So, has there been any news that say specifically when Pellegrini will be ready?
Actually, I came to know that Ibrahimovic is actually training with a group, which is actually...
Mm-hmm.
Which actually means that he's close to a return. So I think within 10 days, since he's actually not having since we're not having any games, I think 10 days will be more than enough for him to recover.
That's what I said. I was making that point as well. Yusuf said that we have Liverpool the next game, so it's going to be tough to see what Pioli actually does with those decisions. And then that brings us to the Champions League, and that Pellegrini, it looks like, is going to be excluded from the Champions League team, along with Casti and Conti. So, do you guys think that Pioli was right? And I'm sure Rohit's going to talk about the fact that with the squad balance, we need certain players that qualify for some UEFA positions or limits. So, do you guys think that he was correct in leaving Pellegrini out of the Champions League team? Or what do you guys think about that?
He said, I think when we got Pellegrini and he saw Pellegrini at training, he Pioli said that Pellegrini isn't ready for 2 weeks. That's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember reading a conversation that he's actually not ready. I don't remember which outlet reported this, but I remember reading that Pellegrini is going to be eased in after all of these injury issues he had. They don't want to just kind of like push him in and make him get injured again. So that's actually a very prudent move from Pioli, because Pellegrini for me actually has a lot of potential. His first touch, his ability to beat defenders, his pressing. He's actually systematically and tactically, he's one of the perfect players for our system. But since we know that he's actually having a lot of injury issues, so if we can actually keep him injury free for some time and we can unleash his potential, then I think we have a good player on our hands. So I think we should give him a little bit of time.
So
Uh,
what should we do now? We have Lazio, Liverpool, and we have Giroud with the Rona. We got
I don't
Pellegrini
know.
out.
I don't know what's the. I mean, every corona is actually like what do you say? Every corona is different. So for some players they can recover within a week. For some players it takes more than 10 days. So it's down to what kind of corona Giroud has and what's his
But
immune.
let's assume it's a week. Giroud has to still train with the team and get back to match fitness. Because training at home will not get him to match fitness.
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember
We
whenever
saw
I
that
have.
with Benacer. We saw that with Benacer. He was training at home and he doesn't look match fit yet.
That's true. I think it also depends. Like I said, it depends on what kind of COVID that got him and what's his immunity, which is again something that depends on player to player and body to body. So it depends. But the good part is that I read that Ibrahimovic is actually fit and he's joined group training, which is a good sign. So
Okay.
when you're injured, you actually do an individualized workout. But when you're fit, you join the group and you have a group session.
Okay, so the question is now whether you play Ibra for the Lazio game or for the Liverpool game. Because I don't
I
think we
would
can play both.
I would play both of them. I mean, for both of them, I would play
You
for
would
both of
put
them.
Ibra for 90
I would
minutes
play.
on each,
I would play. I mean, obviously, if we are in a situation where we are
and
leading
he
two
just
one or
came
three
back
one,
from an injury.
if we are in a situation where we are leading 2-1 or 3-1, definitely we can sub Rebichin or Leao, maybe push Leao as a false nine, maybe even Pellegrini as a false nine in the league games. Since I think Pellegrini is actually gonna be omitted from the Champions League squad. I think the last maybe 10-20 minutes of game in his legs will not have a huge issue. So that's the kind of thing I would do because for Lazio, I think a player like Ibrahimovic would be a different gravy.
um, so let me ask you guys this: like Roy's obviously very concerned about this possibility. Like with our Mercato, we basically tried to add enough depth so that we wouldn't have to see this again this season. What don't you guys agree that we need to do whatever we can to not play Leao as a number 9, or to avoid Rebic as playing this as well?
I mean,
So let's say,
who are you gonna put? That's the question. Who are you gonna put?
yeah, I know, but that's the thing. If we can recover Giroud, either one of the other, Giroud and Zlatan, of course that's of course that would be that's what it comes down to. If we can recover
What
one
if you
of the
put
two.
Giroud in and we can tell that he's not match fit? The same thing happened to
What
Benacer.
if? Well, what
And we
if?
can't risk Ibra getting injured again. We can't risk that.
What if? Mhm.
Continue.
I just want to say, what if Pioli tries some other tactical system, or what if he plays with a false 9, like
I mean,
Skiller says, Krunic false 9.
he
What if he
has to be
plays like a
creative. He has to
like?
be creative.
What if he plays like a 4-3-3 and Diaz, like a Manchester City where Diaz plays number 9, and then you put Leao on the left and Messias or like Red or Saelemaekers on the right, whatever you want to do. What if he plays some sort of false 9? I mean, these are all possibilities that like with no backing as of now, but I'm just saying.
I mean, the timing of this just it's such a bad thing.
It's true, but at the same time, what if he comes back like?
I mean,
What if
Giroud
Giroud comes back
just got
perfectly?
off scoring 2 goals in the San Siro. The timing couldn't have gone any better.
I mean, yeah, I think if he comes back at the right time, he should be good. But we have to see. Pioli is correct. Let Pellegrini first prove himself in Serie A, considering his injury issues. If he gets injured, yeah, I agree, but it's a bit frustrating that we can't play at number 9 where we have to. It's done. He's born. He will make so many mistakes. Okay, now Roy is Pioli out, guys. Ibra will get injured again. Probably.
That's what I'm saying. If he plays for the Liverpool and the Lazio game, and he just came back from an injury, and he's 40 years old.
Yeah. Ibra for 60 minutes and put in Pellegrini for the Lazio match.
I mean, I think for the Lazio game, Rebic or Leao will start as a striker.
Pellegrini for the Lazio match. Ooh, this guy, you got confidence about him. Wow, that's a bold claim. I mean, I guess 60 minutes for Ibra in the Lazio match, and then Pellegrini for 30 minutes. Oh, okay, that makes a bit more sense. I thought you meant like the whole game. Leao as a false 9 is worse than hammering your testicles. Nice. Rebic should be okay. Roy, did anyone else get signed? Okay. This guy. Yes. The answer is yes. Pioli is greater than Pep. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I have a kind of, what do I say? I have a kind of answer to all of these things. I think a coach is only as good as the players he has. I mean, no coach. I mean, no great coach in the world would not be what they are without the best players that they had. Saki had Van Basten and Gullit and Maldini and Baresi, and Carlo Ancelotti had Maldini and Shevchenko and Kaká and all of those players. So every good coach is down to what players they have. I mean, an example is Pep Guardiola himself. Pep Guardiola had Messi and Iniesta and Xavi and all of those great players at Barcelona, and he was able to achieve 2 trebles. While at Manchester City, he's not been able to win the Champions League because, as much as Kevin De Bruyne is a great player, there's still no player like what Messi is. So it's a manager is only as good as the players he has. Nobody. I mean, Pep Guardiola cannot just go and take Empoli and win the Champions League with them.
I agree.
Yeah, no, of course it has to do with that. But then at the same time, once you have the players, I mean, I guess you're not many coaches are in a position like Pochettino that you can have literally any like the world's best players individually. The coach is still somewhat important, but yeah, of course, fine. At the end of the day, money is huge. Money is huge.
One aspect of a very underrated aspect of coaching that we people do not see is the man management. So, I mean, Zidane is not tactically a great coach as much as, let's say, maybe other coaches are, but he actually did not need that kind of tactically to be a great tactical coach. But he actually is one of the world's best man managers. All he had to do is manage the egos in the dressing room. I mean, you have Cristiano Ronaldo, you have Gareth Bale, you have Isco, you have James Rodriguez, you have Modric, you have Cruz, so many players, and he just had to manage the egos and just give them a basic system to play in, and he succeeded at that. So one aspect is man management. I think Pioli is a good man manager. He's actually, I mean, I think AC Milan is one of the youngest teams in Italy and top 10 youngest teams in Europe. So when he's actually what he's actually achieved with all of these young players last year is actually very commendable.
Yeah, a lot of people do talk about how good the group is. So of course Pioli's a huge part of that. The only the only situation that he I guess he didn't wasn't the best man management at man managing was maybe Hauge or whatever. There was an issue with that, but other than that, it was pretty good. Um, okay. Rebic is still on bait. Yeah, Rebic takes forever to adjust. Hasn't hit full form yet. He can, yeah. Giroud, I think he can make it back. Hopefully. Ranieri with Leicester winning the Premier League. Oh, yeah, that's a good example. But I mean, if you look at the players Leicester had, they were kind of really good at scouting, or a bit lucky that they had all these world class players on that team.
Actually, I have a counterpoint to that. I mean, Ranieri has never won anything other than with Leicester. So that was actually one, and it's like picking out an exception, one exception among a hundred examples. And let's just say that Ranieri, as much as he won with the trophy with Leicester City, the next season he almost took them, he almost got them relegated, and he got sacked, and some caretaker manager came in and saved them on like in the last game of the season. So it's not. I mean, using one example is not always an ideal situation, an ideal way to beat a theory.
Yeah. Roy, they had Conte. Well, yep, that's true.
They had Conte, they had Mares, they had I think
Vardy.
Vardy. They also had a guy called Drinkwater. I mean, he was also a great player at that point of time. Drinkwater was also there. Albrighton was in good form. Wes Morgan and Booth was Booth was also in a good situation. And I think one thing we have to acknowledge was the fact that that season all of the big teams, that is Chelsea, Leicester City, Manchester United were not a big team that time. Were all kind of really weak. And I think that was the same season that Chelsea finished 10th. I think they finished 10th after that whole issue with Jose Mourinho cropped up. So it was like, as much as everybody says this is why the Premier League is the best league in the world, it actually shows that that was actually a fluke win, because the best teams of the league, that is Chelsea and Manchester City, actually did not win the league. I think City was managed by Pellegrini then. So, I mean, as much as the big teams are not great, so when you are winning the league, it actually shows how weak the league is rather than it being a strong league.
Yeah. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about this point about the team's depth and the decisions of the coach, because since we're kind of covered most of the chat, what do you guys think about like the right back position? Obviously, today we saw Kalulu play well. He scored a nice goal for the France U21s. That just reminded me of him. I was surprised we didn't loan him out. To give him more minutes. But how do you think? What do you think the best situation is to manage all of these right backs? Like Kalulu, Calabria, Florenzi can play there. Conte is like the fourth, whatever. I don't even think he's going to play at all. Because we have Kalulu.
It's oversaturated. Our right back positions are oversaturated.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about getting Kalulu some minutes here in this season? Because I definitely agree with Skillard. He needs game time.
I said that from the beginning. If Florenzi isn't playing that great, then put Kalulu in.
I think we are actually trying to mold Kalulu into a center back than rather than being a right back. And right now, I think Kalulu does not have an option since he's not over Calabria or Florenzi at this point of time.
But wait? So you think you should develop as a center back? You said.
Yeah. I think we are actually going to develop him as a center back, because I wasn't kind of impressed by his offensive play when he played against Manchester United and Red Star Belgrade in those two Europa League games. I think he could have done better because I mean, in this day and age, I think right backs or fullbacks in general are always being judged for their offensive play as much as their defensive play as well.
That's true. At the same time, though, I think what I say all the time is what I said earlier is from what I've when he does play, I see him improving. Um, I see him like from the beginning when he first started playing this past season with us. And then towards the end of the season, I saw him improving on his confidence and what he was trying to do on offense. I think he needs more time before we just automatically say that he's not good at offense necessarily. I think he can still develop a lot. I mean, if and he did score today. I mean, I did see him against Genoa the second half of the season. He gave Rebic like a nice cut pass back into the box, and Rebic just kicked it over the bar. I mean, I'm seeing him attack more, and he's very fast. I also would it would be interesting to see him develop as like a defensive midfielder too. I was just thinking
I
about
think
that as
he
well.
would flourish at three at the back if he played a right center back. I think that would be the ideal spot for him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Kalulu, Kyer, and Tomori, three at the back. I think that role would fit him perfectly.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you guys think about Florenzi's positioning? Is he always going to be in that right wing position, or unless I mean if Calabria is not injured, I guess, or out, because that's where he's played so far.
Yeah, I think Florence is more of a defensive winger. That's the kind of position. But he can also play as a right back, where there's a lot of switching of flanks involved. He has a good crossing ability as well as a good long ball ability. So this actually gives Pioli a lot of tactical versatility in terms of the tactical choices he needs to make. As a Conte, I think he is not going to play any more games unless and until we have this huge injury crisis going on.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. It's hard for him to find any
No, I mean,
minutes.
I think we are a bit pissed at him for the way he actually behaved during the transfer market, where he actually did not move because of his salary, and he actually wanted to keep his 2.4 million net where at what he's earning right now. Because Sampdoria or Genoa are actually ready to take him on.
Oh, really? So it's his demands that were stopping them, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't. That's interesting. I wasn't too sure about that. Okay. We can maybe move on to another position. So what? All right. How confident are you guys? Let me go back to this picture. How confident are you guys about the trequartista position and the depth of the position? And do you think that if Diaz can't play for whatever reason, we would switch formations, or would we try to play Messias in that position?
Doesn't Messias play as a cam?
He can, but I see him. He's either a cam or right winger, depending. He's left-footed, and he can play cam, is what I'm saying. But do you think Pioli would rather change the formation to like a 4-4-2 or some other formation to work around that like issue if it does come during the season?
I don't see much of a difference in a 4-4-2 and a 4-2-3-1 if Messias is playing. Actually, he's actually somewhat of a support striker or an attacking midfielder when he's playing in the middle. So I don't see much of a difference.
And so I want to ask, do you think Pioli would just replace Diaz from Messias, or do you think he would just try to add another striker or like try to just alter the formation altogether? Is what I'm saying.
I think right now the approach would be to to keep Diaz since he's actually much more used to the squad. But if let's say Diaz does get injured, I think we're gonna continue playing that formation because we actually cannot change change the whole system just because one player is injured. You cannot make other players uncomfortable because one player in the team is not is not there. So it's for me, unless and until let's say, for example, Diaz gets injured, Messias comes in and he's not the Messiah. Then I think then maybe we would contemplate a formation change, but not. It's not just gonna be because one injury takes place and this guy is gonna like change the entire system because one player is not there, and it's gonna weigh heavily on the other level.
Guys, can I ask a quick question? It's kind of off topic, but aren't the players vaccinated? Like, I'm vaccinated already. Isn't
That's a
like
good question. I don't know if they're required to, but most of them I think are vaccinated.
Yeah, my uncle was vaccinated, but he got the corona. So actually, even if you're vaccinated, it does not prevent you from getting corona, but it actually reduces the intensity of the disease. So that's the thing that I found so far.
Yeah, I think that it's still that I mean, at least what they're telling people is it's also supposed to reduce your chance of getting it as well, but you can still get it, of course. It's just it's just much reduced. So I don't know if Giroud is vaccinated. I don't know if players are like forced to get vaccinated. So that's a mystery right now if he is. I wanted to ask Yusuf, and again, if Rohit, we want to reiterate your position about Messias. Yusuf, what do you think about Messias, and what do you think about like how he was our last signing it to reinforce the attack?
Anto, if I'm being honest with you, like I haven't seen Messias play a lot. The only times I've seen Messias is when he played against Milan. That's not much, honestly. So I can't really say anything about him. But his story is pretty intriguing, honestly. I hope that the players feel motivated around him and feel inspired around him. I hope he can inspire our players. That's what I hope from him.
Yeah, and I was actually going to pull up the news on the Milan website that I just read, and it said that tomorrow is going to be his press conference. So I'm interested to see what type of questions they ask him. Bakayoko's was today.
I just hope he inspires the rest of the players, you know. He can
100%.
provide something off the pitch to these players because they're very young and I think they would need that role model in the team that came up from nothing. He basically came up from nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, I read this interesting tweet like today morning. It was very interesting, and it actually gives us a kind of an idea as to why Messias actually had to come up from nothing, and he had to come up from Serie D. Trying to find the tweet. Yeah, so it was like the tweet said that uh, in Italy there are really stupid rules such as if a player, unless he's from the in the youth system, if a player from another country comes in, he has to start from Serie D. He cannot be signed up by a club from Serie B or a Serie A. So even if he has Messi like skills, he still has to start from Serie D. So Messias actually had to start from Serie D because he's a Brazilian and he's not an Italian. So it's like he had to start from Serie D with some team, and they won their.
We lost you there, buddy.
Pardon?
Did you? I think you cut out.
Oh, I caught out.
No, no. I think Rohit cut out.
Yeah, I think
Am
we
I
lost you
audible?
again.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can hear you now.
Yeah, so after winning that Serie D championship, that was when Serie B team Crotone actually pulled him up, and that's how he came. So maybe I think if this rule did not exist, maybe Messias would have been in the Serie A already a long time ago. I like the way that Yusuf said that he's not watched him enough. Half of the people who overreacted during Messiah's signing has not watched it, and that's when the YouTube compilations came out, and then everybody's having a much better opinion of him now. So I think we actually I have seen him not only against Milan. I saw him once against Parma, where he scored this outrageous goal against Parma, where he cut in and scored not the flick, but he cut in and scored. I think he has this
Right
quick
footed,
kick.
he lifted it over the keeper. Yeah.
No, not that goal. Another one. I don't know if it is against Parma or Atalanta, but he scored this really wonderful goal. And I'm sure this is gonna maybe this is gonna come back to haunt. This prediction is gonna come back to haunt me. But I'm sure Messias is gonna be a better player than Hakan was for our system.
Oh, Roy, if you're in the chat, I want to see what you think about that.
I mean, his stats are pretty good. 9 goals, 4 assists, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
That's
let's
like
let's
that's like Rebic stats right there. So
I
if he,
mean, this 9 goals and 4 assists came with Crotone, while Hakandinho got 4 goals and 9 assists playing for an AC Milan side which has better players. So I think he has the quality. Maybe Roy is gonna kill me at the end of the season, but I
I
think
mean, I would be very happy if he's like a Rebic type on the right wing. I'd be very happy with that, honestly.
By the way, to answer your question, I think Ollie here is. I hope he's informed. It sounds like he has. Not all players are vaccinated. Plenty of players would rather not get the jab because they don't know the effect of the jab on their physical well-being, sporting wise. Players are afraid that getting the
excuse
jab
me.
may reduce their stamina and overall sporting abilities. Hmm. Okay. I mean, that's what I thought in my head, but I'm not sure whatsoever, like the actual numbers of who's vaccinated, who's not. But anyways, yeah, I'm just looking at this Milan news piece about Messias. It talks about his whole story, which is really nice. Um, I'm all for this signing. Financially, it's good. Personally, like as a player, he looks good. He's good at taking on players one on one. Good at dribbling. Um, and then also the fact that he has a great story. Like he's a humble person. So
Yeah, off the
sounds
pitch,
good
I
to
think
me.
off the pitch, I think it's a great signing,
Yeah,
especially that we have a young squad.
yeah, for sure. Um, okay. I guess we can move on to another piece of news or another topic. Let's go to the Champions League. Champions League is, a lot of people are concerned about this. All right, so let's just start off by talking like, what are your opinions again on like our group? Are you happy we got a difficult group? Would you have preferred an easier group? And I'm just going to start off by saying right now that I think that this group is undisputably the second hardest. Maybe you can make the argument that it's harder. It's the first hardest based on the experience and the coaches of the teams. But Manchester City and PSG's group is on paper a harder group, but this is undisputably the second hardest group in the competition. So, what do you got? What are your reactions to this?
I just want to quote Pioli. He said that this is a stimulating group, and I really do think it is a stimulating group. It gets the players, hyped up and excited because we're playing such great teams. So I actually like this group a lot.
Okay, so you got that. You're confident. Are
Yeah.
you? Do you? What do you
I
think
think it's
about like?
stimulating.
Okay, oh, right,
Yeah.
right. I don't want to say confident. But you don't. Are you gonna predict what place we finish in the group, or do you not want to do that? Do you think?
To be honest, I think third place.
Okay, honest answer. Honest answer. Rookie, what about you?
Yeah, so tactically speaking, this group is a really intriguing group. You have one of the best attacks in the world in Liverpool, and you have one of the most defense. I mean, one of the best coaches who can organize a mean defense in terms of Atletico. And I think 2 years
Portuguese
back,
possession also.
yeah, and you have both of them faced off against each other. Klopp and Simeone faced off against each other 2 years back. in the 2019-20 edition, and Atletico came out against Liverpool and won against them in Anfield. So obviously, there's also a bit of a historical element there as well for Liverpool fans. And uh, it's tactically a very intriguing league, not just from AC Milan's point of view. And for us, I think it's actually going to really test us when we are going to play against again the best team attacking wise in Liverpool, and an Atletico, one of the best defenses. So it's actually going to be a really tough group. It's going to be a challenge, but I think if we actually do come out on top of this group, which I don't think is going to happen, it's going to be a huge morale boost for the team, for the players, and it's actually going to be a huge image. I mean, a huge boost to our image, and we can actually sign players and players even faster. We can actually we can actually kind of say that we are actually back. Finally, we are back, and that last season was no fluke. So this would actually go a long way in kind of helping, and I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen when Saelemaekers and Van Dijk face off each other.
um, two quick questions just to follow up with that. First, so if Milan somehow win the group, do you think that we can win the Champions League?
We still would have to face PSG, Manchester City, or even Leipzig if Leipzig pull off an upset. In that group, we still have Bayern Munich, Chelsea. I think may win that group.
Yeah, but if we manage to finish over Atletico and Liverpool, you don't think? I mean, we can at that point. Besides maybe City and PSG, I think we can take on any other team. And Chelsea. Chelsea's also extremely difficult to play against. But if we can get lucky in our path, you don't think it's a Do you think it's like a possibility?
I don't know about Atletico since I've not followed them this season, but Liverpool haven't looked like the best in the last 2-3 games. They look a bit weak against Chelsea when they played. They had a bit easier opponents when they played in their first 2 games. So I'm not sure about Liverpool as much. Maybe I'm wrong, and Liverpool will trash a 6-0. But Liverpool look a bit weak. Bayern Munich is just an upcoming team. Since they're with Nagelsmann, they're not used to his tactics. So I think by the time if we face them in the round of 16 or the quarters, that maybe by then they would have actually got used to his tactics, and it could be a really big challenge for us. Barcelona, I'm not scared. Barcelona look really abysmal. Real Madrid, unknown package. Uh, who else is there? Chelsea, City, uh,
Bayern.
PSG again. Bayern, Chelsea, City, PSG. All of these teams are going to pose a huge threat to us.
Manchester United.
Manchester United again. I'm not so sure of them. I think maybe with the Cristiano Ronaldo factor, it could change. It could be a different thing. Uh, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so convinced about Manchester this season. Maybe with the Cristiano signing, they actually take a turn for the huge. Uh, Sancho hasn't settled in yet. Maybe with Sancho settling, it could be a different factor again. So also, I think one thing we have to consider is how our players grow, because we cannot. I mean, we cannot be sure if Leao and Tonali will be like last year where they were not inspiring enough, but this year they actually do look in the last 2 games they looked a bit inspiring. So if Leao, Tonali, Brahim, all of them grow a lot, I think these players can actually become the trump card for our team. So I don't think we're going to win the Champions League, but it's going to be a huge morale booster. It can help us in Serie A as well.
Yeah, yeah. And so then, just last question about that before I give my opinion. If you had to predict the place we finish in this group, what would you say?
I would say we're going to be second. I'm going to be a bit
Oh,
over optimistic. I'm going to say we're going to be second, and maybe we're going to pull off a draw or something against Atletico or Liverpool somewhere. Maybe that would be a big factor. But it's gonna come down to how we deal with Porto in those two games.
Yeah,
And since it's such a tough group, uh, I think the team with the top is gonna be like 10 or 11 points, not much.
yeah. I hope we play well against Porto because like just to prove to Juventus because they got eliminated by them, and if we do well against Porto, man, like that's nice. They're a difficult team to play. Definitely one of the hardest third pot teams with Ajax and who else was there. But so my prediction. Okay, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys. Am I happy with the group? No, because I'm happy. I would have preferred an easier group to go farther. That's just my own opinion, and I'm sure everyone's going to call me weak because of that. But if I'm not disappointed, and I've accepted the fact that we're in this group, and I think that we can go through. So I will say that I predict us to finish second. And it's going to be based on how we deal with Porto, like Rohit said, but also if we can get some points against Atletico, that would be huge as well.
That's if we don't have injuries. That's what I'm scared
Mhm.
of, is the injuries.
Oh yeah, we need either Giroud or Ibra for
Yeah.
every single game. If not, we're serious. I don't see us scoring against Atletico with like Pellegrini or some other players. So, do you guys? I don't watch too much Atletico. Do you guys know who their starting center backs are?
Jimenez and Savage.
Okay. They don't. I mean, they're a defensive team, but their center backs aren't really talked about too much. I feel like.
Jimenez is one of the best center backs in the world.
What's his nationality?
Uruguay.
Okay.
He and Godin, both of them were one of the best center back pairings in the World Cup in 2018, and they were also on fire for Atletico that season, 2017-18 season, I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah, they made a lot of signings this offseason. They got DePaul, Cunha. They wanted to get Vlahovic. They've invested, so they're definitely a dangerous team. And they're La Liga champions, so there you go. Cool comments here. Our group has 15 CLs. Yeah, I noticed that as well. Atletico don't have a CL, I believe, correct?
No, they don't have I think they have two Europa Leagues, but they don't have a CL.
Yeah, Liverpool 6, Milan 7, and Porto I think has 2.
Yeah, Porto has two.
Yeah. Roy says that the jump from Crotone to Milan is big, and he doesn't think Messias is gonna adapt well. Maybe at least in the beginning. Aesborn said, "Imagine Messias having a great season with Milan, being called up to the national team and playing the CL. Yeah, that would be amazing for him." Atletico with Suarez, Griezmann, Felix Correa, De Paul. Yeah, Suarez is amazing. Felix, though, he doesn't even imagine. Even if we could take Felix on like a dry loan for this season, imagine how good that would be for us. Because he doesn't get any playing time recently with Atletico, and he would be
No,
really good for
there's
the
another
attack.
player. There's another player called Thomas Lemar, who
Ah,
was
yeah,
part of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Who was
Yeah.
part of that 2016 Monaco team, which Mbappe and Bernardo Silva broke out of. He's also very subdued in that team, and he's not been since his price tag is huge. Nobody's actually been able to afford him.
Yeah, I did see that Milan were linked with him, and I watched a lot of him. I think that recently I did see him play in the team, but recently it's no Joao Felix too that I've seen. So yeah, both are great players. I think we're actually better than Liverpool and Atletico. Think we are. I say we finished second in the group. Let's hope so. Um, yeah, I would. That's what we predicted as well. Second. I think Thomas Lemar. Now that I think about it, I believe he got called to the French national team recently. Like I think he's with them right now. Just yeah. United have Varane, Sancho, and Ronaldo. Okay, we have Ibra, Giroud, and Fikayo Tomori. So and Kiar.
To be fair, actually, Varane has been really underwhelming in the last 1 to 2 seasons.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sancho is good, but I have a fear for him that with first of all, he's not like if you sign a player for 90 million, I feel like they should be starting him right away. To boost his confidence. I have a feeling that he's gonna be waiting for his moment to start getting a lot of minutes, and then the English media is so harsh on some players. Like if they start off slowly, they like destroy some players completely. I feel like.
It also depends on the skin color.
Mm, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. And I was just thinking about Lukaku, and I mean, it's true that he doesn't have the best first touch in the world, but everyone was over exaggerating. Like they said that he has no touch whatsoever, and then they sold him, and he went to Inter, and then now they bought him back for 100 million, whatever, because they can afford to do that. So.
Lukaku's problem was his physique was really, I mean, his physique was really bad. That he kept tripping over the ball because he was really fat and he was huge like a bear. So I mean, once he came to when he came to Inter Milan, what Conte did was he worked with this Antonio Pintus guy, who was one of the best sports fitness coach in the world, and he got him to cut down on his weight. And I mean, he became one of the fittest players in the world. So I mean, when he regained his fitness, he got his balance. So he stopped. Obviously, he still has a bad first touch, but he stopped tripping over the ball as much. So he was able to be a better player. That's how it happened. It's not because Lukaku is a shit player technically, but he had a bad first touch because of his weight.
Mm. And by
But
the
there are
way,
some. Oh, sorry.
all
Continue.
right, go ahead, go ahead.
There are some English players who are overhyped, like Grealish. Just give me a
Yeah.
second.
Just to add, I was. Oh yeah. By the way, just because I saw this, I believe Conte now works at Sky Sports in Italy. If I'm correct, I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he works as a pundit.
I think
No.
Grealish is overrated, man.
Oh, I agree. No player should be worth 100 million on like. I mean, there are players with 100 million. Even though I personally think that that's way too much for any individual player, but Grealish worth 100 million. Like
120
Grealish,
million. 120 million.
I can't believe that. Like I was actually shocked, and it's just going over people's heads.
I don't know
That's
why
how
people
crazy
are
this
hyping
is.
him up so much. Like, what's so special about him? I just don't see it.
He said, I used to like him because when I would watch the Premier League, he was like or he was an Aston Villa player, and he wasn't overhyped too much, and he was like he was like their best player, a solid, consistent player. But now all of a sudden 100 million, and he's not that good. So my appreciation for him has just dropped so much ever since that.
Yeah, and I think that Ronaldo will be a big difference maker in United. He can score 30 goals a season. That's huge.
Okay, yeah, he's definitely He's definitely helpful.
We're gonna see Juventus crumble because they don't have Ronaldo now.
Yeah, I predicted, and I think this is going to happen. As of now, at least, it's definitely happening. I said losing Ronaldo would be harmful for this season, but helpful for the next seasons for Juventus.
That's
So,
true. I agree
yeah.
with that.
Among the 4 teams from the group, Milan with the least CL experienced squad. Hope they just go out and play without any pressure. True. Atletico have been leaky in the back this season, though. Okay, that's interesting. Varane was only good when Ramos was beside him. It's a bold claim, but I don't think Varane is as good as everyone's hyping him up. But then again, a lot of players are overhyped in England, like Ben White and these players. So I like having this groups because it instantly shows difficulty of playing in the CL. In win or lose, it just the experience that helps so much. That helps the club so much. By the way, guys, how many years of qualification will like increase our pot position? Like Atalanta's pot 3, and they made it like the past like 3 or 4 years. So how many do you guys think?
Yo, Antonio, I think I gotta go. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
kind of
okay.
hungry. I need to go eat. So it was nice
Oh, it was nice
chatting with you.
talking to you.
Yeah, you too,
Yeah,
Rohit. Nice
thanks for
chatting.
coming on.
Nice chatting with you,
Thanks,
Rohit.
man.
right?
Rohit, do you know how many years it will take to kind of increase our pot position? If we let's
if
saying that we
if
don't win the
we win
Scudetto
if we don't win the Scudetto, then I think it would take maybe 3 to 4 years.
to
Three
go
to
to
four
like
years, or
pot
maybe
three.
or maybe it would depend on where we finish this season. You know, if we finish, like, let's say we go out in the semis, then I think it would increase our pot position to C maybe.
Okay. So if we make it out of this group, that I feel like that alone should increase a little bit, don't you think?
I actually do not know how these coefficients work, and
Yeah,
it's
it's so
actually very
mysterious.
it's very ambiguous. I mean, that's the way it has been made, by UEFA, so that they can actually push their benefactors and all of those kind of things.
They are such a sneaky organization. Okay. Man City or Liverpool will win. Man, you have a lot to catch up. Liverpool will win the Champions League. That's a bold claim. Skillard, nah, bro, he's good. He won a World Cup with Ramos, and I watched the first game against Wolves. He looks solid. I think this year RO16 should be enough. We already have 31 club coefficient and round of 16, and round of 16 should add +4 or +5. Okay, so we have 31 club coefficient. Like, I didn't know we had the exact number, but that's cool. Okay, so that's caught up with chat. I think I want to close soon, in like 5 minutes maybe. But let me go back to the news page. I showed the pictures. Okay. Yeah, so I guess we covered all the main topics, but I guess if you want to close it talking about Lazio, Rocky, what can you expect from Lazio? And did you watch their games or their highlights of the first two games they played?
Uh, I'm sorry, I haven't watched anything of Lazio yet, but it seems like they've actually acclimatized to Sarri's football really fast, which is a bit of a concern, because once Sarri gets playing, once Sarri gets used to the league, it's really difficult to beat them, like how the old Napoli was and how Chelsea was towards the end of their season. So
Mm.
they actually have, they actually play a very high line. So since we have good fast players in Leao and Messias and Diaz, it would be a really enthralling encounter.
Yeah, what do you think about having a slower striker like Giroud and Ibra? Do you think they'd still be able to play well, or?
I think the fact that these two players are slow is actually a myth. They actually are. Their sprint speed is as fast as Leo and Giroud's, and Ibra's sprint speed is as fast as Leo and Saelemaekers.
Really?
Yeah, Ibrahimovic was recorded at running at 33 kilometers per hour.
Recently?
Yeah, I think it was against Cagliari when we won 2-0 that he was running at 32 kilometers per hour.
Wow. But they just can't maintain that for a long time.
Uh, that's the average. That's the average sprint speed. That's the highest he has caught up to. But in terms of maintaining it, it's always Tonali or Kessie who's first.
So really, so Kessie and Tonali can maintain top speed.
Yeah,
What about
they all.
Teo?
Theo Hernandez is a bit slower when it comes to these speeds, but in terms of top speed, it's always Theo Hernandez who's first. I've even seen Tonali recording a 35, which is very amazing for a midfielder. But
Yeah.
in terms of speed, it's always Tonali. I've always seen in terms of average speed, it's always Tonali who's first.
Yeah. Empoli was giving Lazio problems early on. We need early goals. Yeah, I guess. We also need to be defensively sound. I noticed, okay, they scored 6 goals against Spezia. Some of the goals were just pure, they were just tearing Spezia apart. They opened the game up, and it was brutal. I think we can obviously our defense is good enough to avoid most of those mistakes. But always watch out for Luis Alberto because that guy, when he gets the ball on the edge of the box, he always shoots it into like the bottom corners. So that's we have to watch out for him. And I guess Immobile, because in the Serie A, he's like some sort of he's just a different player than when he plays for Italy. So like it's crazy. He's horrible when we need him to be good as an Italian fan, and he's and he scores hat tricks for Lazio. So there you go. I don't know. I think Skillard. They need to watch out for Rade Krunic. That's right. Any updates on Kessie's injury?
No, I think he's still doing personalized workout. He's not recovered yet.
That's what I thought as well. But yeah, I did see that Ibra is training with the group. Let me actually pull up this AC Milan. That's just to buy tickets. Okay. That was just a separate link. September, an intense fixture list. That is true. We have, Lazio, Juventus. But it also has Liverpool, which they didn't put. Venezia and Spezia. Venezia, their kits are amazing, but I've been watching them play because I was curious, and they look very sloppy. Especially their midfield is okay, but their defense and attack is pretty poor. So that should be pretty simple to beat them. And Spezia as well look very shaky, not the same Spezia as last year with Italiano. So at least we can maybe recover some points that if we drop any points before that.
I think Spezia made a very risky decision in appointing Thiago Motta as the coach when he had a really bad. He was a failure at Genoa like 2 years back.
Yeah, I remember that. Then he plays.
He had this. What do you see? He had this crazy
formation.
2-7-2, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. 2-7-2. I heard about that. Yeah, that's risky. If club decides to let Kessie go, isn't it bizarre? We just let our top performers go and for free. Yeah, but we cannot pay the wages, and other teams can. So I don't know what do you want the club to do in that situation? The players just run down their contract. So Milan, this is just back. Milan we have wage limits that we do not want to go over. So that's why we're letting them go, because we just simply cannot negotiate past certain limits. I'm not surprised anymore. We can't get renewals or sales done when we need to. Okay, Skillard, we're going to talk about this debate again. Guys, I think I'm going to end it here. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Pretty late where I'm at, but thank you guys. We had a good amount of viewers today, so I'm happy I chose this time. I postponed the original stream. If you guys just joined, please like the video. Rohit, thank you so much for coming on and good discussions. And I'm just excited for Milan to come back and play because I want to see Giroud. I want to see like these players come back fully fit and healthy. Messias, Pellegrini eventually, and it's getting. I just want to see us with our first test of Lazio. So, any last words?
I'm waiting for the king of Milano to come back.
Ibra?
Yes.
Isn't he the god?
He's a god of Milan. Yes. With jokes apart, I think when Ibra comes on the pitch, Milan have a different vibe about them. Even against Cagliari, there was a shot where Giroud was looking at Ibrahimovic for approval, and Ibrahimovic clapped Giroud hard. So even Giroud actually looks up to Giroud. Even he openly admitted it. He said that he looks at Zlatan as an idol. So when you have your idol playing along with you, I think it gives a different vibe to us. And I think this is going to be Ibra's last season, maybe probably as a football player. So I'm looking to that kind of thing where even though physically he's not what he was the last time we won the Scudetto, he's that kind of a player who actually can inspire mentally, and he can be with the team, and he can actually get the performances out, and it actually reduces the work of Pioli, who has a limit where he cannot go beyond the sidelines.
Yeah, bro, what a signing! And to everyone who said that this was just marketing and it was a stupid decision, they can all stop watching soccer, because what an amazing idea to bring someone just to help with to revolutionize the team. I agree with you. He's one of the freaks of nature, that he's able to be this effective, and with his his touch, his finishing, his class is permanent, and we've seen it with some players.
If Ibrahimovic was maybe a Brazilian or an Italian or a Spanish guy, and he actually had won one or two Champions League, I think Ibrahimovic would have been considered a generational player. I still think he's a generational player.
I think he is a generational player, but he's never considered to be one of the greatest of all time.
I still haven't seen a striker who is 6'5" and has this kind of ball control. The only one the only one I've seen come close to him is Lewandowski.
Yeah. And still, Lewandowski's control isn't. Lewandowski's really effective at scoring now, but his control isn't. You can't say he has the same control as Ibra. The touches that Ibra does are amazing. But yeah, good comparison. All right, thank you so much, Rohit. Thank you everyone for watching the stream. Like it up and subscribe if you're new. This has been Antonio from Rossoneri, and we're going to sign off for today, and I hope to see you guys soon. Sempre Forza Milan, and ciao ragazzi.